Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first two T20 internationals for England on this road to Australia 2022 because we have back-to-back World Cup years. I'm Rob. This is Rich. Welcome to the podcast.
Why did you have to say the A word already?
Australia.
Don't need that. I'm just slowly getting over it. After watching this first game, I thought it was still Australia.
Every time someone says the Australian word, you drop whatever you've got, like the England slip cordon.
Just developing that little twitch. Yeah, mate. We are on the road. Nothing stops. Nothing gets in the way for cricket, does it? We're on to the next one.
It does, mate. So five T20s going on in Barbados, all being played on the same wicket as England went and scored 236 against the President's 11 the other day, Rich. Couple of omissions from the England team that I possibly expected to see in there. One, no Liam Livingstone, who was sick. That's a bit of a shame. No Phil Salt. All the hype we've given to the Saltmeister General, and we don't even get it. We don't even see him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's on you, that one is. You're the other one hyping him up, aren't you? And it seems a bizarre one to me because I thought he was going to be somebody that was going to be fast-tracked towards stardom in this England setup, especially with Livingston not being available. You want to get off to a good start. That's what Salt does, as good as anyone in the world, isn't it, in this format, in that first 10 balls or whatever it might be. So really strange. And I'm not quite sure if the top of the order has been nailed down just yet. Let's put it that way.
I think that's fair enough. So England batted first here, Rich. 103 all out off 19 overs. They found themselves 3 for 10, found themselves 4 for 24. What are we looking at? Are we looking at England batting really poorly, a poor pitch, or West Indies executing exceptionally?
Both things can be true, as is often the case. England were pretty ordinary, weren't they? The ball's bouncing again.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Oh
bouncing.
My goodness! Yeah, I mean, again, this is Australia. I mean, I'm not saying these guys obviously weren't in Australia, so it's a different set of players, isn't it? But it was the same problems. Bouncing ball, bit of pace. We didn't know what to do to it. It was pretty ordinary. Nobody really contributed in that top order. It was only really Chris Jordan that looked impressive. Yeah, and that was way down the lineup, wasn't it? Bowling wise, you've got to give credit. When Jason Holder has posted figures of 4 wickets for 7 off 3.4 overs, he was one of the openers, wasn't he? Sheldon Cottrell 2 for 30 off 4. They bowled really, really well, and they really asked some decent questions of the England attack. So I think England were bad. And I think in this game, West Indies were very good.
They were. Jason Holder does need a shout out. Their career best figures for him in T20 international cricket. He's one of those guys who, for whatever reason, exceptional test player, is a little bit in and out of this West Indies team. And it has been hard for players because they play some games and then they're not involved because franchise stars come back. But he's kind of put his hand up, taken his opportunity and gone, hey, 4 for 7, economy rate of 1.90, 18 dot balls, only 1 boundary coming off the bat. That's world class. The other thing that stood out for me about this West Indies team, Rich, is they were really fired up. Like there was a huge amount of energy going around the team, and they were taking any chances and putting their bodies on the line. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but they were working really hard to limit every single run on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, world cricket is a better place when West Indies are good, looking good and they're fun to watch. And this is exactly what they were in this team. It does help when you get in wickets. When you get into a team early, first 6th ball of the over, wasn't it? First over. The last ball of the first over, we get the first wicket. Well, then just the penultimate ball of the next over, we get the next wicket if you're West Indies. And then again, next ball, Moeen Ali goes. Your tails are up. You're going to be firing. You're going to be, that extra level has been found without really having to do anything. The bowlers have gone and done what they should do, took catches if it was catches that were required, and you just go with it from there. You just surf the wave, if so to speak. And England couldn't keep up. England just found themselves behind and just couldn't find a way of getting out. And that's what happens in T20 sometimes. If this series kind of changed, if this was a performance in the 3rd game, let's say England had gone 2-0 up, you kind of just go, okay, whatever. Yeah. But because it was the first one, it sets the marker down, doesn't it? It sets the standard, if you want. The pressure is on a little bit more for individuals, and West Indies get themselves in. I thought West Indies were great. I really did. There's some players that are playing for an international future here that might not have ordinarily had an opportunity. And we're seeing players that we didn't know the names of. Suddenly, you're putting faces to names and you put in talents and abilities to names as well. And there's some really fun players.
Yeah.
So I genuinely, I know it might sound a bit bizarre as an English fan, but I really enjoyed this first game. Second game we'll get onto in a minute, but this was a fun game because it was good to see West Indies do so well.
I'm going to give you a date, Rich, and I'm not asking you to guess what happened.
I'm not sure my missus will be happy about
that. 16th of February 2020.
Right. Okay. Yep.
The last time Owen Morgan registered a 50 in T20 international cricket.
Don't do this to me.
And I can't count them off the top of my head, but that might be 25 games ago. It could be more, it could be less. So
you're just setting me up.
Yeah, excellent. I think it's got to be talked about because excellent captain. Leads a very talented team really well. And however he does it, great leader, gets the best out of the players on the pitch. But I don't think you can lose a World Cup semi-final and then have another World Cup coming up without going, Owen Morgan, if he doesn't score runs during this time, I don't like talking, this is a pessimistic English view. If he doesn't score runs and we don't win, is that the end of the road for Owen Morgan, who is now cracking on a little bit in years? He's now 35. He'll be 36 come the World Cup.
Look, I'm a little bit conflicted with Owen Morgan because I'm not a huge fan of every decision he's made or how he goes about things. I don't think he's universally loved. I think those that he supports love him, but he's one of those, I think that it seems to discard players. And obviously we know of the vendettas, etc., with the Hales and whatnot. Owen Morgan has to be performing. He is an exceptional captain. It's going to take a hell of a lot to remove him, extricate him from this side. It's a bit like Joe Root and the Seth side. If Joe Root doesn't want the captaincy anymore, that's when he'll give up the captaincy, not before that. There won't be a decision made, I wouldn't imagine. Well, I'd be shocked if there was. If anybody turned around and said Joe Root's fired, that would be the worst thing I could imagine in English cricket. Owen Morgan's similar. He's bought himself all the time he wants. When he wants to step down as captain, he will step down as captain. So it's only at that point. I've seen something recently about being quite a selfless captain and what a team man and stuff. There was an argument to suggest that perhaps the best thing for this T20 team, the World Cup, was Owen Morgan not playing and handing over responsibility to somebody else and maybe giving the captaincy over, because I don't think he was part of the best 11 team we had for the World Cup.
Yeah.
In this team, we're missing some of the players, aren't we? So obviously he's in there again, but he does need to go and get a score. Even, no matter how long he's been captain or what he's done in the past, he'll be questioning himself a little bit, at some point. So for his well-being, more than anything, for his leadership, he needs a score to re-establish himself and lock himself in. Whether he decides to carry on, that's up to him. The character he seems to be, he'll still be captain at the next World Cup, and he might not have even hit a 50 by then. Yeah, but he'll still be captain.
Yeah, I think he'll be captain come the World Cup, and with the One-Day World Cup being the year after, I think that might be the natural stopping point, because by then he's 36. If he's still scoring some runs, but it has been a while since we've seen a Morgan knock. One guy at the other end of the scale, Rich, Liam Dawson, first game since 2018, I think, for England. Well, he gets run out for 2 off 9 balls, face down in the middle of the pitch. Like, of all the things that could have happened during that first innings, Liam Dawson would have thought, I don't want to do a Mike Atherton on 99 and be crawling trying to get back in my crease.
Yeah, it's not the way he'd have imagined this gone when he was rehearsing in front of the mirror in the hotel room the night before. He'd have been thinking of a good swashbuckling 30 or something down the order. It wasn't fit to be for him. Luckily, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but he did bowl pretty well in this first game. So that is something. But it was the men after him, wasn't it? Chris Jordan and Adil Rashid that, if we want to find a positive for this game, that was the two. And like I say, Chris Jordan was exceptional. Considering the batting card ahead of him, I thought he batted really, really well to get England up to can we call it respectable total? 103?
I think it gives you a chance, like maybe a 2 in 100 chance of pulling off a victory. But if you're defending 60 or 70, you're up the creek with no paddle. But 100, get a few early wickets, a few tied overs. You never know. And well, you do know. And West Indies, they didn't romp home, but 104 for 1 off 17 overs, one with 3 overs to spare. Brandon King, great, 52 off 49. And you know what? I appreciate, we spoke on the preview podcast, this West Indies team's approach and strategy has to change. They can't just be the old West Indies of 43% dots and then they'll hit a 4 and a 6. And here I think you saw slightly different. There was only 8 boundaries and 1-6. There was a lot of ones, a lot of twos, a lot of running really hard, even to mid-on, mid-off. And they're not places you tend to see West Indies scampering through for one in the power plays in previous times. Whereas here, it was like every run counts. We're going to accumulate runs. We're going to play in a slightly different manner. And I thought, for what it was, they're chasing 100, but I came away with confidence going, okay, they've got a game plan. They're going to change the way they approach their batting, and they might not be looking to score 240 every innings, but at the same time, they're probably not going to end up being bowled out for 55 at the World Cup like they did last time. They're going to accumulate a score.
Yeah, definitely. And Brandon King showed he wasn't fluid. He didn't look like he was in at any point particularly, but he just kept going. He kept going, and it was a huge knock for him as much as anything else, as much as being for the West Indies team. So he made sure that, over my dead body, I'm going to make sure I take this score home. 103, we're not going to screw this up, guys. Shai Hope did pretty well, didn't he? Nice stumping for Billings, Rashid pulling him forward, getting him out, and lovely little bit of work from the Test debutant Sam Billings. And Nicholas Boran is probably their star man now, isn't he, with the bat, without Evan Lewis and without
Hetmeyer.
Yeah, so he's the one that, let's see how he reacts in this series. Can he put himself up and be the new big boss of this West Indies batting lineup? Bowling, if I can jump onto it, Saki Mahmood and Chris Jordan were a little bit ineffectual at the top of the order. Spinners, Dawson and Rashid both bowled well. Timor Mills, pretty good figures. Be interested to get your take on that. And Moeen Ali just got the one over, surprisingly, when you consider how well the two spinners did. Not saying it would have changed anything. There was still 2.5 overs left in the inning, so plenty of time for West Indies. But a little bit surprising Moeen Ali didn't bowl more. Just a little bit underwhelmed by the seamers.
Yeah, I just look at it and go, they're chasing 100. They don't have to take the risks that England were taking when they were trying to set 100 to win. So they can just kind of ride it out a little bit, pick up bad balls, ones and twos. They're only scoring at 4, 5 and over. It's a different game, chasing 100. I think from an England point of view, England like to chase, and they're exceptional. They're the best team in the world that's probably ever been that's been chasing in white ball cricket. And you want to see them set good scores batting first consistently. And I came away a little disappointed with that. I think Shai Hope deserves a little bit of a nod for his keeping work as well. I thought he kept quite well in the first innings. Exceptional stumping. Sam Billings is a world-class player of spin. And Akil Hussain, left armour, spun it away from him. Tidy piece of work. And if you've got Sam Billings out stumped, you're doing something right. So I just came away going, better team won on the day. But it does show to me that there's a place in T20 cricket for bowling line and length. Still. And it is a little controversial because length can go. But here, West Indies bowled on the length and the pitch was doing bits. So they hit the pitch hard and the pitch was doing bits, and it made it really difficult for England.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've full credit for this, the first game victory, wasn't it? There's not a lot more you can say about them. I was just very, very impressed from 1 to 11. There wasn't a performance in this West Indian team that underwhelmed. You talk of the wicketkeeper, that it was a great bit of work on the stumping, but he looked solid. There was a few, practice stumpings. Let's put it that way. We all have the club keeper that likes to whip the bails off every time the ball beats the bat. Shai Hope was doing a little bit of that, but he was rapid. His hands were great. So every single player was wanting to take that opportunity, and they certainly did. Names that we might not be familiar with, the Romario Shepherds, the Odean Smiths, etc. of this world. Akil Hussain did really well in the World Cup. He played well. We started catch our eye early on in that tournament. There are players that are making their way up. With the bat as well. Brandon King, someone we might not know overly well, but this is what it's about. It's a transition time, isn't it? England, yes, we're missing a few players, but for West Indies, they're missing some players. So it's a real opportunity.
Yeah, it is. So we move on to the second one, back-to-back days, Rich, every game being played at Barbados. 171 for England, batting first again. This was much different in a lot of ways. And I'm going to start with the West Indies. Here, the West Indies completely changed the length they were bowling. They were bowling way too full, as opposed to the day before. They were hitting the length and the ball was doing bits off the pitch, and there was irrational bounce. It's irrational bounce. And they also made a mess of it in the field. They missed catches because of the sun. They dropped catches. Moeen Ali was going to put the lottery on after the game, thinking, "Wow, I got to 31 for 6." Like it was an Adam and Eve performance. Adam and Eve,
That's Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde. That's a better one. Adam and Eve. It was a Rich and Rob performance. And it just goes to underpin the fact that this is everything Phil Simmons said it was. It's a developing team, and they're learning, and they're young. But as long as they go on the pitch and give 110%, then what more can you do? In fact, I saw a great meme about 110% earlier today, which made me laugh. Guy walks into an interview, he's got a glass on the table, and he pours himself some water, and he pours it all the way over. It keeps going and going. Interviewer turns around and goes, "Are you nervous?" And he goes, "No, just giving 110%. There you go. We're here. Rate, review, subscribe while we're here.
There's no such thing as 110%.
No. So England 1-7-1, Rich. Jason Roy back to a bit of form. Also, Tom Banton, 25 off 18. I thought, and I've been quite critical of him in the England setup actually over the last year. I actually thought looked really, really good in this innings.
Yeah. He's still a young guy, isn't he? He's making his way. It's his 11th T20 international now, top score of 71. He's not quite grabbed hold of it yet, has he? And that's what we're looking for, is players to really just start nailing down spots, trying to make it really hard for anyone that's not in the setup at the moment. He was going really well, wasn't he? 25 of 18. That was a hell of a caught and bowled. Anyone that knows me, a ball that's drilled back that flat as a caught and bowled, I have got no idea if it's going 5 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour. I try and catch the ball about 4 times usually before it reaches me. Give me a loop on a catch and I'll snaffle it, but give me a straight one like that. So that, for me, I'm just there. I'm clapping Fabian Allen, just going, yeah, that's awesome. You don't realise how good that is, people. But yeah, Banton was looking good, so it's disappointing for him, but that's the way it is. If you're going to smack the ball in the air back at the keeper, you give him a chance. Jason Roy, it was really good for him to get up and running in this series after a really, really impressive knock, obviously, in the warm-up game. James Vince, a little bit disappointing. As we said, I'm sure there'll be calls for him to be batting at 3 by the time the test team's next announced. It was quite an amusing dismissal, that, wasn't it?
It was, mate.
Clipped his bail. Wicketkeeper's gloves are nowhere near. And he's inquiring about how he was bowled. You know, I'm surprised he didn't get a bit of a send-off there, to be honest.
He almost gave it the Virat Kohli treatment and almost did a review for a bowled. What are you doing?
It, can't you? Come on, send it upstairs. So yeah, that's disappointing for him as well. But yeah, Jason Roy, it's good to see him go. Moeen Ali, although he did get a bit of an opportunity. He did get a few runs as well, so they built up a relatively good total, didn't he? And that man again down the order, Chris Jordan, 27 on 15 after his 28, I think it was in the first innings. Innings. God, you can tell we've been watching Test match cricket, can't you? In the first international, so he's looking really good with the bat, and it's great to see because I really like Chris Jordan as a cricketer. I don't know him or anything else, so got no idea.
Sam Billings came in above Owen Morgan in this game.
Rightly. Yeah.
Are we reading into that Owen Morgan's dropping down to a 7 in the lineup? I don't know if it's 7. I can't count that far, but yeah, is he a 7? And what I found really interesting about this, we had, and I don't know if you get the same commentary. We had Steve Harmison on commentary with Ian Bishop at the time.
Yeah,
and Harmison, I actually really like him as a commentator, but here he made a dumb comment that Moeen Ali was at the crease, Sam Billings was coming in to bat with him. And Moeen Ali will be annoyed that it's not Owen Morgan because he's going to have to run 1s and 2s really hard. And
that wasn't his strongest
point. That's a bit of a silly comment because you're playing for your country. It's 20 overs. Get on with it, mate.
It's also a little bit lazy. There's the potential, if you wanted to point to certain stereotyping, but I'm not going to go there today. Steve Harmison has been really, really impressive as a commentator. I've enjoyed listening to him. There's somebody else in the comms box as well, and I forget who it is at the moment, but I'll catch it after the third game. Someone else has impressed me. I think the decision to move Billings up above Morgan was nothing more than let's go with a right and left hand combination rather than bring in Morgan. So you got 2 left-handers, just to make it a little bit more difficult for the West Indies bowlers who were, I don't want to say struggling at this point because obviously we're taking wickets, but they weren't. Let's make it a little bit harder for them. Let's just keep it that way. Let's not take a foot off the gas. So I think that's all it was. Owen Morgan, 13 off 12 again. I think you've got to call it another failure. If he'd got 13 off 6, you can kind of call it, he had a good swish and got out. But, I'm not criticising his 13 off 12 balls. That's fine. It's not a problem with that strike rate. But we just need to see a score, don't we? I don't think the outcome is going to change particularly with him, but we just need a score.
Yeah, we do. There was 2.5 overs left. And in that time, Chris Jordan was able to come out and accelerate. And as a number 8, is looking really good, 27 off 15 balls, and is adding good value because he's going to be there. England like to use him in those later overs, death overs. Him and Timo Mills at the death overs are exceptional. But yeah, 171, I think is a pretty good score. And I think it's 171 because West Indies were very poor in the field and they missed their lengths. They were bowling way too full, too much of this innings for me. But Akil Hussain needs a little doff of the cap again because he was exceptional. 1 for 15, Absolutely. Going at economy rate of 5. Spinner bowling 3 overs, only went for 1 boundary. And he got the wicket again of Sam Billings, very good player of spin. Billings kind of looking in 2 minds about what sweet shot to play and just ends up top edging it. So more power to you. That's really, really good. And I think if the West Indies look at it, they go Fabian Allen, 1 over too many, ends up with 2 for 50. 2 for 50. 8 boundaries and 2 sixes. That's gone round the park a bit, mate.
Yeah, you'll want that back, won't he, if he gets that chance again. To be fair, Mario Shepherd, who's somebody we're going to talk about in a minute, he went for a worse strike rate at the economy, at 13s, but he only bowled 2 overs. So there's the benefit of only bowling 2 overs versus 4 when you're comparing yourself to your mate. Yeah. A little bit disappointing for West Indies in this one. Like you said, they didn't quite get it right. A good score for England. Just worth noting as well, Reece Topley did not bat, but he was the only change, wasn't he, in for Timo Mills. In this game, West Indies were unchanged, obviously. So you would expect at this point, 171 for 8, especially after you've seen the first game. Well, that's a winning total, isn't it? No problems whatsoever. Winning total. And then I'm just going to progress things slightly, Rob, before I let you jump back in. 2 wickets down for just 6 on the board after 2.3 overs. This is a cruise for England.
Yeah.
Feet up, cigars on, happy days, game 1.
Well, I switched off. I was on daddy duty, and I'm like, I'm going to go out and play. I'm going to go and play instead than watch the cricket. And I'll just catch up with it later in the night. So I was like, it was done. And then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, just a bit, isn't it? So, a bit of an effort from the top order, but it never looked close. This is the thing, Paran gets 24, Darren Bravo 23. Darren Bravo, he's such a naturally gifted player. Such a lovely, one of just lovely, just stroke playing batsman. He played a little bit at Notts quite a few years ago. I was so excited when he came over and he didn't really click. He didn't really make that score the memorable score, let's put it that way. But he's just always somebody that I've been waiting for him to just take that leap into sort of world stardom as a batsman. He's not quite there, but it was nice to see him back around playing. Middle order collapses, doesn't it? And then a certain Romario Shepherd and a certain Akil Hussain come together and make it very, very close.
Yeah, well, we win by a run, but the fact is, when we're looking at this, they scored 23 runs off the 18th over, 8 off the 19th over, which was bowled by Reece Topley. So more power to you, Reece. There's some good plus points. And then 28 in the final over. 1 wide, dot, 4-4, 1 wide, and then 6-6-6. The number of the Devils being thrown into a cricket game, and it makes me a little bit uneasy, mate. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I was looking forward to slowly going through that over. You've ruined it for me there. I was going to build it up. It was 72 off 9. I found hilarious by the end of this innings when they're both on there. They both got 44 unbeaten. Shepherd off 28 deliveries, 1 4 5 6s, and Akil Hussain's 16 balls, 3 4s, 4 6s. Romario Shepherd was basically turning down runs early on in this partnership. He was basically saying, nope, I'm not going to waste a ball. I'm going to we're not having that one. I'll face the next ball and I'm going to go big. And the man Akil Hussain very quickly got close to Shepherd's score and just kept going as well with a 275 strike rate. Go on, boy. It's something else, isn't it? I just, like I say, 72, I think it was off, what did I say, off 29 deliveries? Simply stunning. They needed 30 to win, didn't they, off that last over? 30 runs. It's just crazy. I mean, like you said, a wide, a dot. Okay, right, no problem. And then 4-4 wide, 6-6-6. It's just, I mean, that was unbelievable from Hussain, those last 3 sixes. Give him a hat trick.
even though they've lost, mate, this will feel like a win to the West Indies to see their lower order and a Romario Shepherd who's young into his T20 international career, that's going to feel like when he's only played 11 T20s and he's only scored 100 runs in total, and then he goes and does this. Like, it's an incredible performance by them, really.
Big time, big time. What I loved as well, Cricket Info commentary on that last ball. After the six had been hit, whoever was on there, credit to you, he typed up, "It's the most outstanding failure imaginable," and that is said in the absolute nicest possible way. It was a stunning performance, and I quite like that West Indies took us this close, because I want to make sure this England team does not rest on laurels and it kicks on again, because it's been the number one team in the world. We fell short in the World Cup, but that motivation, I need to see that motivation of an England team to be great again, to win again. Because we've seen it too many times over the years. I mean, the great example for me of England cricket teams settling is the 2005 Ashes team, one of the greatest series, one of the greatest teams. They go to Downing Street, they get their OBEs and whatever it was, MBEs, and then we completely crap the bed next time we go to Australia and get absolutely hammered. I want to see England teams have success. Maybe we stumble, but then go again. Self-motivation, drive yourself to say, we want to be better than the team we were before. Don't try and beat somebody else. Improve yourself. And I want to see England just take a step up a couple of notches in this series so far. Full credit to West Indies. Don't get me wrong. Loving seeing this West Indies team. Some really good cricketers. But I want to see England now step up. They've lost the first game. Quite embarrassing circumstances. And this one could have been soul-destroying.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been.
Destroyed. It could have been 2-0 and you're talking almost game over, aren't you, for this series? So, it's finally balanced now, and I really want to see him step up.
Yeah, definitely. It's the batting. You need someone from that top six to step up, and there is experience in there. James Vince is next incumbent number 3 as long as Joe Root doesn't play T20 international cricket. You got Jason Roy, who's one of the better players in the world. Moeen Ali, who's probably batting a couple of places too high in international cricket. Owen Morgan, who's desperate for runs. Sam Billing, who is in and out this team, but will be there at the World Cup probably as a backup for Johnny Harder's nails, Bairstow. So, someone's got to take ownership of it. But there's something about going to the West Indies, Rich. It doesn't matter what format we do it. We normally have a hard time. It's never easy, even when the West Indies team is young, inexperienced, or at times they've been poor, at times they've been world class. But it doesn't matter who we go up against. We have a hard time in the West Indies. Why is that?
Yeah, they raise. I think West Indies first and foremost raise the game. I think they love playing England. I think that's it's the historical relationship, however you want to put it. The fact that we've been playing cricket against each other for so many years. We were, England back in the day were like the mother country, if you want. And I think there's all that. I think these teams like West Indies and India and the rest, I think they want to beat England, and rightly so. They want to beat the old imperial master and all that nonsense. So I think it's really, I'm not saying it's personal, but you raise your game against that team that you see as, the old traditional powerhouse, or however you want to put it. It's like playing Man United, isn't it? Or whatever, however you want to put it. But I think teams raise the game, and I think West Indies love giving it to England. I think the teams get on, but I just think they absolutely love, no matter who's pulling that jersey on.
Every team loves giving it to England.
Yeah, too right. As they should. Go on.
I was going to say, so 3 more games, mate. 3 more games. It's one apiece. It's actually perfectly set for me saying it's going to be a 4-1 win, and I think you said it was going to be a 3-1 win with one rained off. So we're both in the game at the moment.
Yeah.
What do you expect to see? What do you expect to see, and what do you want to see?
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to see Livingston in the team. I think he gives us a different dynamic. And I was a little bit disappointed. Well, I don't want to say a lot disappointed. Probably a little bit disappointed that Phil Salt's not made an appearance
disappointed.
Yet. Yeah, I was a pinch disappointed there was no Salt.
Yeah.
I'm a Pepper man, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, Banton and Vince haven't really shown everything they can do yet. I'm not saying you're going to drop one of those. Vince got his 100, didn't he, in the ODI last summer? So yes, he's a good T20 player. But is he an international 2020 player? I think that's the question, isn't it? He's a very good domestic T20 player, but I'm not quite sure if I want him in my 11 to take on the best in the world. So I'd like to see Salt and Livingston make their way into the team. For who, I don't know. Saqib Mahmood, I'd like to see them persevere with him because he's not had the easiest run so far. But I would like to see them just stick on because we do need to just quickly touch on that. None for 45 off his 4 Saqib Mahmood. Chris Jordan 1 for 39 off his 3. Yes, outstanding batting by Akil and Romario, but we need to be a little bit better towards the end of an innings. We struggled in the World Cup with this as well. So whoever it might be, whether it's continuing with Jordan or the likes of Mahmood, who we love and we want to see progress in all forms of cricket for England. I'd love to see him don the whites and get in the Test side, but we need to be a little bit better. So I hope they do persevere. And give him a good run so he can bowl himself into a match winner in one of these games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see some fresh face. I don't think we're going to see Harry Brook with a bat. I don't really think he's ready. I think he's more there for experience. But however you get Sultan, I'm not going to cry too much if Banton gets dropped or if it's Vince. And I want to see Livingston in. And again, I'm not really bothered who he's in for. Perhaps this could be a nice series where we actually do drop Morgan out for a couple of games, because it'd be nice to see who's a captain, give some responsibility in a game. Now's the time, as far away from a World Cup as you could possibly imagine in the T20 calendar. So why not? Why not give someone a couple of games leading them on the field?
Brave call, dropping your captain, but
it's a tactical dropping. It's more of a resting.
Rest and rotation.
Yes, exactly.
I also want to see how England bounce back under different leadership, and I'm not talking Morgan here. I'm talking about your Tresco and Collingwood at the top.
Yeah,
how do we respond under their management? What are we talking about? Proverbial we. It's like when I go, oh yeah, we lost to Australia, and my wife turns around and goes, "We? Did you say?" Well, it is a we. We're all emotionally invested in this.
Exactly. Of course we are. It's always we. It has to be.
It's always we.
Yeah. Talking of we, the fans, they look like they're having a hell of a time. I just want to say that. Just a week in Barbados watching cricket, shorts and t-shirts, flip-flops, whatever, plenty of beers and rum. It looks a cracking time, that does. I'm very, very envious of all those England cricket fans at the moment.
It does, mate. They do look like they're having a blast. So they've got 3 more games to go. Game on Wednesday, game on Saturday, game on Sunday to finish off. We'll be back probably the end of the series to have a wrap up on that. Then we've got a new segment on the show, and we're going to try and keep it pretty short. It's called a 5 Good Minutes. And in 5 good minutes, we're going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in world cricket. So the clock timer, Rich, is going on now. Right.
That was easy. Go on, then. You're leading.
Joe Root, ICC Player of the Year, 1,708 runs in 2012. Third most ever, 2 double centuries, 400s, 3 in a row against India. Is this England's greatest performance in a single calendar year by a batsman?
I think it's up there. I think Alistair Cook was the last Englishman that won it in 2011 after that series that I'd mentioned once or twice, the 2010-11 Ashes, when he scored rather a lot of runs. I think absolutely sensational performance from him. I think it's well deserved. Carl Jamieson of New Zealand, he of 7'12" or whatever he is. Dimuth Karunaratne, the Sri Lanka opener, and India spinner Ravichandran Ashwin were the other nominees, but Joe Root absolutely head and shoulders above everybody this year. Well deserved.
Shaheen Shah Afridi, Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy for ICC Men's Cricketer of the Year. 47 Test wickets at 17, 8 one-day wickets at 41, 23 T20 wickets at 26. Economy rate 7.86. I've put Inspired a Nation, ? It's been a turbulent year for Pakistan. This is a good reward for a great young cricketer.
Pakistan have been a fun team to watch for a number of years now, but they haven't been able to get results to go along with these performances. They started putting that together in this World Cup, and Shaheen Shah Afridi is the absolute key, or one of the big keys. Batting, 1 or 2 players might argue that they're pretty important, but Shaheen Shah Afridi is absolutely immense, and I love this guy. I think when we first did this pod, Rob, it was one of the first weeks we did it. I remember seeing this guy, still a little bit of a video of this 17-year-old taking 4 for nothing, just about, in Pakistan domestic cricket, and he looked a unit. And he's still a unit, and he's, again, well-deserved. Love the guy. I'm not going to say who else could have won it. I don't know. Joe Root probably could have won every award this year, but the big man, Afridi, I love it. And I love that Pakistan are putting themselves back up there as well. It's great.
Yeah, good on them. Pakistan are definitely getting themselves in a good place. Ian Cobain, first time I said his name.
Well pronounced. Well pronounced.
34-year-old on holiday in Adelaide. BBL completely ravaged by COVID, and he gets a call saying, do you want a game for Adelaide Strikers in the Big Bash? Goes in, makes 35 not out against the Scorchers, 71 not out against the Sixers to put them into the playoffs, and 65 off 38 to put them into the eliminator final. Winner goes forward. and plays the Scorchers in the final. Is this the best holiday that anyone's ever had, ever, given his earning potential has just gone through the roof?
I think was he just on holiday? He wasn't actually on holiday, just following the Big Bash, just in case there was a need for him. His agent told him, just get out there. It's awesome. I would also like to say that whoever was bowling him balls on the beach to warm him up and get him into this nick can probably do a better job of coaching England than the test coaches we had for the Ashes. So if it's his 3-year-old kid, I don't know if he's got a kid, but if it's like his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, give them a coaching job, because he has come into this on fire, hasn't he? More power to him. Absolutely brilliant. Lovely, lovely story. He's been a little bit in the wilderness with the school runs, hasn't he, over the last few years? Got started getting back onto it last summer for Gloucestershire, if I'm right. Is it Gloucestershire or Hampshire he plays? Gloucestershire, isn't it?
Gloucestershire, yeah.
Yeah. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant story. It's what we would all used to dream of, isn't it? Of like just suddenly someone picking you out of the crowd. Here, son, have you got your boots with you? Come and open the bowling. Yeah, love it.
1 minute 30 left. PSL due to start Thursday the 27th. 3 players, 5 support staff test positive already. Question mark, does it get interrupted by COVID?
Everything's been interrupted by COVID, so yes.
Ian Cobain has been snapped up by Karachi Kings. Matt Parkinson and Pat Brown have been called up to Peshawar, Zalami. Tom Abel, Saqib Mahmood, Liam Livingston are all out of the squad, and Dan Lawrence has been called up as a supplementary reserve for Quetta Gladiators. Question mark, Dan Lawrence, why is he not a T20 star as of yet?
I don't know. Does he even know how to bat anymore after spending about 3 months in Australia not doing anything? Maybe they've just got him as a specialist drinks carrier. I don't know, but I would like to see him get a good run in this PSL. He's a good player. He's an aggressive player. No reason why he can't be a very, very good T20 player. He seems to be overlooked a bit. Not quite sure Test is where we want to see him for the next year or so.
Last one, IPL. Lucknow have announced their new franchise names. There's 2 expansion teams going in. Lucknow Super Giants. This franchise was bought by RP Sanjeev, a diversified Indian business group, for a sum of 7090 crore, about $940 million US. They have announced that KL Rahul would be captain of the new franchise. They bought him for $2.28 million US, joint highest fee paid for an IPL player. Previously, RP Sanjeev Goenka Group did own Rising Pune Super Giants, later changed the name to Rising Pune Giants, I think. Question mark. What the hell is up with these nicknames? Super Giants is one of the most ridiculous Jack and the Bean names that I've ever heard of.
Very, very quickly, why is it not just Lucknow Giants? Why do we have Super Giants? Why are you trying to steal Chennai's name, the Chennai Super Kings, which, yes, sounds like a brand of cigarette, but it doesn't matter. It's still better than Lucknow Super Giants. Sorry, Lucknow supporters, but come on, why do we need Super in there? It makes no sense whatsoever. Ahmedabad have still got to name their team, haven't they? I'm very confident it will be a better name than Super Giants. Sorry.
Like it, mate. 5 minutes, 45 seconds. There's world cricket in a good 5 minutes. So I think that's as about as done. We'll try and do one of these wrap-up things near the end of everything that's going on. Next time, Rich, we've got a bit more time. We need to delve deep into the Brendan Taylor saga, which has come out on Twitter since his personal statement yesterday. Going to be really interesting to read, understand, and see what's going on with that in the moment. And plus, when we're coming back again, the Big Bash will be wrapped up. The PSL will be pretty much getting ready to get underway. And I need to check when the IPL date is going on. Anything else, Rich?
Nope, all good. Look forward. We'll jump back on after the third T20, I reckon.
We're all good. And you know what? We might even, in 5 good minutes next time, mention that India lost 3-0 to South Africa in the one-dayers. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Till next time.